Hey everyone, it is Coach Travis Robertson, and I am super excited to be joined today by the amazing Orly Steinberg, who looks absolutely lovely with the orange jacket today. I love it, and I know there's an orange water bottle in the background there that we'll be seeing here in a few minutes. But Orly, thank you so much for joining us.
Oh, it's my pleasure, Travis, and an honor.
Well, you know what? You are just one. When you and I spoke a couple weeks back, I guess it was in December, and I think we were on the phone for about an hour and a half, and that time just flew by. Like, I loved talking with you. Our conversation was so much fun. And so I'm excited to have you here today. So why don't you just introduce yourself? Tell everybody where you're from, what market you work in, a little bit about your background, how long have you been in business? You know, the basic bio stuff, long walks on the beach, all that.
Okay, so I've been doing real estate for 32 years. Started when I was pregnant with number two and had an 18-month-old at home.
Wow.
So I had to learn time management very, very quickly because there was no time, and you're paying a babysitter while you're not making money. Uh, and slowly but surely went to conferences, was an education junkie, and learned how to build a team so I could have more quality of life, more time with my kids, and just had a passion for it and knew that it was meant for my personality, and started teaching and speaking around the country as well. And I have a couple of people that I mentor as well. So I
Awesome.
just love what we're doing. I'm in northern New Jersey, about an hour away from Manhattan. So we are a sleeper community that predominantly commutes to the tri-state area, tri-county, tri-state area, and New York, but very affordable, very down to earth. We are 70% state park and watershed, so a lot of people come
Really?
here biking and hiking. We have three lakes in town, so being this
Wow.
close to New York and Broadway is amazing, where we've got a lot of writers and artists and actors who live here as well. So very nice, eclectic community.
That's awesome. So why don't you, because you said northern part of New Jersey, so why don't you tell them kind of the areas specifically you serve? Because
So
if you have referrals for those areas, this is the person you want to send them to.
perfect. So I'm based out of Ringwood, which nobody really has heard of, although we finally got an exit on 287. And as you know, in New Jersey, if you have an exit, then you exist.
Then you exist.
But I predominantly service the Passaic and North Bergen areas.
Awesome.
So Franklin Lakes, Wyckoff, West Milford, those areas of northern New Jersey.
Awesome. So you've been in the business 32 years. How long ago did you actually start building a team? At what point did you bring somebody on to help?
27 years ago, I
27
know.
years ago. Okay.
Right? So I
So
brought
you
first.
were you were really building a team before most people were building teams. It wasn't common at that point in this industry to have teams. It was kind of every man or woman for his or herself. So what why did you go down that road? I mean, you mentioned kids, you mentioned all of that, but how did you find out even how to do this and how to structure it? I mean, was it a lot of trial and error? What was that process for you?
So I discovered somebody called Howard Brinton, which a lot of people know,
Yeah.
who has since passed, and he had a program called Star Power, where you would get a tape of a month. So
Yeah.
cassette tapes, remember those?
I
You
do.
get
I
a
do.
tape of the month, and as I was listening to other top agents around the country and how they were doing business, I realized that they all had assistants and they were starting to grow teams. It was the very, very beginning of it, and I realized that in time management, if I could take all of the paperwork off my desk and all the follow up stuff and putting up the signs, I could focus what I was best at, which was getting listings, negotiating, showing properly. In fact, in those days, we used to call it dollar productive
Yep.
activities. You
Yep.
weren't negotiating, showing property, and prospecting. You were not doing dollar productive activities, even though you were busy,
Yeah.
because a lot of agents are busy all day long, but are you really bringing in new business or pushing the business you have towards closing?
Yep. Yep. So you go down the road, and we've had the pleasure of working with so many of Howard Britton's all stars and coaching them and kind of continuing forward with them. Never met the man, but I've heard nothing but wonderful things about him, and I wish I had had the opportunity to meet him. So here you were building your team, but it wasn't always roses and sunshine. You had some challenges along the way in putting that team together. And one of the things you and I talked about, which a lot of people end up doing when they're starting to build a team, is they go, well, I need an admin who is also going to do some selling for me, who's also and you tried that. You tried to have the admin slash
And I
buyer's
will
agent.
not only did I try it once, I tried it twice. So, and it does not work. I'm telling everyone out there, you think you're going to save money or you think you're going to hire someone to be an admin for a few hours. So you want to fulfill their time because they want to make more money. So 15 hours a week isn't enough. So let me make them a buyer's agent as well. Well, now they're working on your time. So there's an overlap. So you're actually paying them to do contractual business or their own business while they should be doing your business.
Yep.
They're picking up leads. They're running around. They're doing open houses. So now they're working 7 days a week and in the evening, and you just burnt out your admin, and now you have a not as effective buyer's agent.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
and they're two different personalities as well.
That's the key. You and I talked about that. The profile of a great admin tends to not make a great salesperson, and vice versa.
Correct. I actually, my first hire in that capacity, she was actually my technically third hire. My first admin told me she didn't want to be an admin anymore after a year, and I was pregnant with number 3. So I told her, that's fine, but you need to find me somebody else. So she did, and Kathy has been with me now for 26 years.
Yeah, you told me, you said when Kathy retires, you're done.
Exactly. Kathy's now 74, but going strong.
Going strong. Go Kathy. Go Kathy.
So the second hire, Kathy had 4 kids, did not want to get her license. So that pushed me to now go for number 2 admin, where I needed a licensed agent because in New Jersey, you can't discuss real estate without a license. Yeah. So Noreen actually came on board, and she's great at sales. She's a ID personality. Yeah. Not a lot of C, but she had to learn how to do the administrative part. And by the way, she just retired on me in December. So now we have somebody brand new in that capacity. Yeah. And Noreen was great. The first open house she did, she sold.
That's awesome.
She was great with buyers, great personality, and a great partner on the admin team. But she came to me after a few years and said, look, I can't do this. It's 7 days a week. I'm burnt out. I really want to be your full-time admin. And I said, okay, if that's the case, then you need to push me to the next level, make it worth my while. And now we have to look for a buyer's agent.
Yeah. Yeah. So let's talk about the structure of your team. And real quick, guys, I'm seeing some comments rolling in. And so Liz, it looks like most people can hear us. So Liz, you might need to refresh or check your settings. A few people are having issues maybe with seeing the feed. Refresh, see if that fixes it, because we've got a lot of people on the line here that seem to be just fine here. So let's talk about the structure. And if you guys can hear me, give me hit a like or a thumbs up, or just post in the comments real quick, just so we know that we're coming through strong. So want to make sure that you guys can hear us okay. And I know we're on a little bit of a delay. And guys, we're going to try and get to some of your questions today. We've got a lot that we're going to cover. And I want to be respectful of Orly's time and everything that we're trying to get to today. So as we can, I will do my best to get to your questions. So let's talk about the structure of your team. How many people on your team? What are their roles? And what does that look like?
So I have 6 other women who work on my team. And I was probably one of the first teams that was very admin heavy, which today seems to be a more predominant structure. Mm-hmm. And it happened not by choice or not by design, but it happened because Kathy was raising 4 kids. She could only give me 15 to 20 hours a week. So then Noreen came in at about 25, 35 hours a week, and then full time. And then as technology evolved, we recognized, because both Kathy and Noreen were not technologically adept whatsoever. So whatsoever. I mean, when I told them to cut and paste, they literally cut and paste. So we recognized.
How do I cut my monitor? I don't understand.
So we recognized that we needed a marketing manager that could do Facebook ads, websites, email blasts, things like that. And that forced me to get a third administrator. And everybody kept telling me, why don't you just get rid of Kathy or Noreen and just have 2 people? And I said, I can't. I mean, I have loyalty to these people. They're good. The good news is when one of them is out, we try to cross-train. Yeah. You always have a team that's thriving. Yeah. And believe it or not, when we're gelling and we're really gelling and we're cranking transactions, they're all 3 working nonstop. Yeah. So I recognize that, you know what? When we're down a little bit, we have a little bit more fun. But normally, everybody has their position. We're cross-trained, I would say 70%, not completely. And I actually had an example of it 2 weeks ago. My marketing manager, Jill, who does all of our launching for our listings, and I had come in with 10 listings for the month. We were launching 5, and Jill calls me on Monday morning and says, I can't come in, I have the flu.
Oh,
And I'm like, oh, crap.
yeah.
I'm leaving the week after for Punta Cana. I've got Tracy, who just took over for Noreen and has only been on the team at that point for not even a week.
Yeah.
So we've got a new buyer sales coordinator, client care coordinator. I have nobody to launch the listings. I have not put a listing in the computer, just so you guys know, in over 20 years.
I love it.
So I have totally delegated it. I couldn't even go back and know how to do it. So I quickly hired a professional photographer that we used. Thank God Tracy's daughter, Amanda, who's 19, has done some of this. And she was home from college. We brought her in. She launched the listings. And I said to myself, you know what? This is a great opportunity to see where the holes are in our systems.
Yeah.
And I have to say, with all of the checklists that we have, including a brand new agent and Amanda, who's 19, who walked into the office, everything was launched perfectly.
Yeah.
The remarks were a little weak, I have to say, but except for that, and we sold them right away. And then we have, to continue the structure of my team, 3 buyer's agents who are only buyer's agents.
Yeah. So you're the only one who does listings on the team.
I'm the only one who does listings except when I'm away, because when I leave the country, Colleen is my stand-in. So
Okay.
Tracy and Noreen were trained when I go away to try to put people on hold, see what their urgency is, and if they do have that immediate urgency, then Colleen can absolutely do my presentation. I've done it for her several times. We've recorded myself on her iPad, and she's got the same physical presentation, so she can.
Perfect.
I can film myself.
And so, and we'll talk about your systems in a little bit, because one of the things you've done really, really well, Orly, is you've put systems in place to make sure that your team delivers like you deliver. So you knew the standard. And this is where a lot of team leaders struggle, is they go, well, nobody's going to do it like me. And it's because, well, you're not teaching them to do it like you. Of course they're not going to. They have no idea what to do. They just show up and they're going, what do you want me to do? I don't know what it's supposed to look like. And because team leaders oftentimes hire people and then run around and do everything but train and develop their team. And that's a big thing that you spend a lot of time doing, is training and developing your team. And so last year, just so people understand, I put in the comments, or I put in the description for today, because I was working off of the numbers that Orly gave me at the end of December. But she was targeting for 150 is what it was looking like at the end of December when we spoke, but it looks like a few of them rolled into January. So you ended 2018 at 145 transactions and 48 million?
8 million.
48 million in volume. And so the people understand gross commission for you guys, that puts it at about what, 1.47-ish, 1.48 gross commission?
Oh, yeah. Actually, what, in million?
Yeah.
The gross commission with the company? Yeah, about 1.3.
1.3. Okay. So 1.3 million in gross commission income.
Right.
And so of the deals that you guys have done, it was 55% buyers, 45% listings. Is that about the mix that it's still?
Correct.
Okay.
Yes.
So you're doing a lot of listings, but you've got so much administrative support that you can manage that and still take a ton of vacations and still travel the world, which is a big goal of yours. And you've been able to really back yourself out of the day-to-day. Like you said, you haven't put a listing in the system in 20 years. So talk about your leadership style and some of the things that you do as a leader that have allowed your people, your team, to really become extensions of you and carry your brand and your level of service to the clientele.
So if you can get out of your own way and put your ego aside, my philosophy has always been to empower those around me to not be as good as I am, but to be better. So I truly believe that everyone on my admin team is better than I am in what they do.
Yes.
And my buyer's agents, because I've done this for a long time and I try to train them with what's coming up. But the world is evolving. In fact, in 2008, when the market crashed, I realized that the only thing constant is change.
Yeah.
So you have to really know where the cheese has been moved to. So unlike some leaders, a lot of leaders, I'm not a detail-oriented person. I'm not a control freak,
Yeah.
and I don't care. So once you follow my systems, then it's yours, and you
Yeah.
can make it your own. So first, I want to make sure that it's done correctly, and then tweak it. Make
Yeah.
it your own. Evolve it. Use your imagination and your creativity. When you empower people, they own their jobs.
This is so important, you guys. As leaders, we think we do it better than everybody else. And the reality is we don't. And if you are a high D personality like me, and Orly, you're a high D personality,
I am.
we are really impressed with ourselves at times. And we think we are really, really good at things that we are actually really terrible at. We've just found a way to make it work regardless of the fact that we
Correct.
suck at them. So we hand it off thinking, man, aren't they blessed to get this incredible system from me? And then we go, why aren't they doing it like I'm doing it? And it's because our heads are a dark, scary place, and we don't think like system-oriented, detail-oriented people. So they get it and they go, this doesn't make any sense. This is completely inefficient. It's not the way I think. It's not the best way to do this. And when you can do what Orly did and release it, make sure it's done right first, but then release the ownership of that process and that system to your people and trust them with it, they will make it their own, and they will actually make it better.
Better.
And
We're the
that-
visionaries.
Yes.
And you need to know the people on the bus. There are implementers, there are creative people, and they're the visionaries.
Yeah.
So it's great to have a lot of ideas, but if there's nobody to implement them, then you've got a bunch of generals with no soldiers.
Yeah.
So
I'm great at starting things, not so much the finishing. I need people to finish
I've
it.
got a lot of great ideas, and I want it done yesterday.
Yeah.
Don't care how you do it. My philosophy in life is get over it, go around it, or go through it, but solve it.
Solve
Be
it.
a problem solver.
Yeah.
And we're not good at those details. In fact, you have to recognize very early on, if you give yourself a test, what your weaknesses are.
Yeah.
And my weakness is that I'm not a detailed. I scan. So the team knows never let Orly proof anything that we see. Because I will scan it, and my brain will automatically correct what's misspelled or typo.
Yeah. You're like,
So-
it looks right. It looks good.
Yeah, it looks good to me.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm looking at the big picture, the colors, this, whatever, great. But they know, and they cover my back.
Yeah.
And that's the other thing. You have to have people covering your back.
Yeah.
Jill, my marketing manager, this morning comes in and she says, Orly, there's a house in my neighborhood, which is 2 towns away, that was listed with 2 other agents, and they're FISBOing now. Here's the information. I mean, this is a team member that gets paid salary,
Yeah.
but they own it. They're part
own
of
it.
our success.
Yeah. And you do a lot with your team. You invest heavily into your team to bring them along. So talk about some of the things that I think you guys are getting set to go on a vacation here soon as a team. And so you're investing into their growth, their development, their health, their well-being. What are the things that you're doing to bring them along and really integrate them into the culture?
Well, and that's exactly the word. It starts by creating a culture. And as I was telling Tracy this morning, because she's new, and she goes, wow, you really have a great team. And I said, Tracy, I hire for attitude and mindset.
Yeah.
Skills I can teach.
Yep.
I cannot teach attitude.
Yeah.
So before somebody even gets to me in the interview process, they have to go through the team first. So we can scratch them. And then they have the personality test.
Yeah.
And then I talk to them about, do they read? Are they learning based? Are they open to personal growth? I want somebody that's not just looking for a job. I want somebody who's looking to be a part of my passion and a part of my team, all for one and one for all. So if somebody is me oriented and it's all about the money and the splits and what they're getting and what they're not getting, that's not somebody that I even want to hire.
No.
So I want somebody that is looking to be a part of something.
Yeah.
And that's why I have people on my team that have been around for 20 years, 16 years, 26 years.
Yeah.
So it starts with that. It also starts with little things like I came back from Punta Cana on Monday and I bought everybody a bouquet of tulips. A, it was freezing, so it was the time of spring. And B, it was just a thank you. Thank you guys for working hard last week while I was away.
Yeah.
We have a team meeting every Monday morning at 9:30. We start with some music to kind of rev us up. I go around the room to do a clearing so they can all talk about whatever is on their minds or whatever happened over the weekend so we can get that out of the way. And then I go through my new listings. We go through our top producer report where we go through actives, pendings, And then we end the meeting with an attitude card. So we have a stack of cards, and we either do one for each of us, we kind of change it up, or one person reads the attitude of the week. So we get into a good mind frame because Mondays are our Monday madness. It's the busiest day after the weekend. We're launching new listings, and I want everybody to kind of navigate and have their center as far as what they're going to do all week long with the right attitude.
I love that. I love that. Mindset matters. And as team leaders, especially us high D personalities, we can be, and we're referring to the DISC profile assessment. So we're very, very big advocates of the DISC profile assessment. We use it internally. We teach our clients how to use it. Like, we're big, big advocates of it. And one of the things that us high D personalities like Orly, myself, can be is very bottom line oriented. Like, I don't have to, I always joke that I'm a one woo person. Like, I'm not woo woo. I've got one woo and that's about it. That's all I got is one. I'm like a woo. And so it can be challenging because I just want to get in, get out. Like, let's get to the bottom line here and let's go out and crush it. And what's going, but they need that connection. Most people are not like that. They want connection. They need that mindset reset, which I need too. We all need that mindset reset, and you lead with that and you end with that. I love that, Orly.
A lot of team leaders they do what's called the pigeon leadership style, where you come in, you swoop, you dump on their desk, and then you swoop out again. And that used to be me, I have to say. I mean, I had no patience. I'm not into any kind of sports. Anybody that knows me knows I don't watch sports, don't care, even though I'm married to an athlete who loves sports. But when Kathy used to come in to the office and talk about her son's baseball game, in the beginning, I really had to force myself to ask, to pretend I care, because she's an S personality.
Yep.
And before she could begin her day, it took 10 minutes of her and Noreen and everybody talking, and it used to drive me crazy as a D, like, let's just get to work. But I recognized that those 10 minutes were so valuable to her, and that she's been here for 26 years. And then she's totally focused again.
Fine. Yeah.
And she's fine. But they need to get it out of their system.
Yeah, and they need that connection. And so I love that. So one of the questions that rolled through that I think is a really good question, because you've got some incredible people. So where do you find your people? Where are you going to find the people that you're getting onto your team, because they've been there for so freaking long? And these are productive people. These are very good people.
These are not friends or relatives, by the way, because I speak to other realtors and they always make the mistake of hiring somebody that's a friend or a relative who's not working out, and then they don't know how to let them go without ruining the relationship. So now you're stuck.
Yeah. Never hire somebody you're not willing to fire.
Exactly. Ever. So hire slowly, fire quickly.
Yep.
Is the key. So in the beginning, I used to have a newsletter that went around to the entire town. So 4,000 people would get my newsletter once a month. And in that newsletter for my first hire, because my tagline, because Orly is an unusual name, so I came up with the tagline, Only Orly. Yeah. So my ad read, only you know if you want to work with only Orly, licensed or willing to get licensed. And my first two hires actually came from the PTA.
Really?
These are women who are volunteers. Think about it. Servants' hearts.
Yeah.
And are married to men who are basically providing for them. So I didn't want to hire somebody who was a single mom, divorced, that I would feel responsible for that salary, because I didn't know where this would go. So I felt secure that if it didn't work out, I wasn't making somebody's finances detrimental.
Right.
So, and you've got the right mindset. I mean, somebody who's president of the PTO, who's volunteering, chairing a committee, is organized, multitasking, and has the right attitude of being a servant's heart. Yeah. So those were my connected, exactly.
Yeah.
Knows people in town. So you want somebody who is around you. Look at your past clients also. When you have a transaction and somebody's like right on it, they're emailing you back, they do exactly what you tell them to do, send the forms back. That's somebody that is organized, they're working, and has the right skill level as well as the right attitude if you've met them. Yeah. So look right around you. I've also hired from Indeed.com. Yep. We've put out great ads and interviewed and really scrubbed a lot of people.
Yeah, you have to. I mean, because you go on a site like Indeed, and one of our members, in December, she ran an ad for. She was so worried. She was not going to get any responses to her ad. And we're like, just run the freaking ad. Like, we know how to do this. Just run the ad. Trust us. She got over 500 applicants in
Wow.
72 hours. And then she's like, oh my
Crazy.
gosh, I have too many ad. And so we, it's like helping whittle down. And I think yesterday she was down to two, like her top two candidates, which is
Fantastic.
fun to see. But, there's a lot of people out there. But you said it. They tend to hire friends,
And
family,
Facebook, and use Facebook,
Facebook.
use your social
Oh
media.
my
The only
gosh.
touchy part is that, if somebody is applying for the job that is not going to be a good hire,
Yeah.
put it off to somebody else when you reject them.
Yeah.
Just say, you know what, we've been thinking about it, or sometimes just be honest. Say,
Just
you
be
know what,
honest.
you're not going to want to do this job.
No.
It's grueling.
Yeah.
So,
Well, and the other mistake I see people make is they hire past clients, and
right,
it's like
that's tough.
just because they want to be they're like, this is amazing. Anybody can
Yep,
do this.
and
Oh
I
my gosh, I love this
with
process.
you.
You're like, yeah, because I held your freaking hand through the entire thing. That's why you love the process. It's not as easy. And so they hire clients and go,
Right.
what could go wrong? I'm like, everything could go wrong because now they see behind the emperor's, you know, robe and it's not as pretty as you thought it was going to be. And it's just the relationship changes. And I'm like, why do you do that?
Not only that, but they're seeing you up close and personal with all of your blemishes.
Yeah.
So if it doesn't work out, I've seen it happen on other teams where they go out and tell people what goes on behind the scenes. And I
Yeah.
have to say, probably had in my marketing manager seat 10 people over the years for one reason or another. They left because they needed benefits or
Hmm.
whatever. I only had to fire one person actually, which just not the right attitude. But everybody who went out into the community is still in touch with us, still sends us referrals. So it's nice to know that they left on good terms and only talk well about our team and the way we function.
Yeah. So, for you, one of the things that I wanted to chat with you about, because when I asked you the other day and I said, what are the three things that really differentiate you and make you guys special in the market that allow you to do what you do? You listed three things. You said communication, servicing the community, and your follow-up program. You said those three things are really the key differentiators that have allowed you to grow to 150 transactions. This year, you're going to do 160. But more than that, have empowered you to be less and less and less involved, to putting the business more and more on autopilot, which is the real goal. It's not necessarily to scale up production, but it's to scale back your involvement in the day to day. And that's been a lot of what you've been working on with your coach and putting things in place. But you've got those three things. And I'd like you to touch briefly on what you mean by communication. What does service look like? And talk about, at least at a high level, we don't have too much time, but talk about that follow-up VIP program that you guys put in place.
Okay, so whatever you do, it's all about consistency.
Mm-hmm.
We all have great ideas and you push them out and you launch them and then you go off to more great ideas. So whatever you do, stop reinventing the wheel. If it's working, just keep doing it. And I've been doing a lot of things for a very long time. So communication, the first thing, and we actually have a checklist of communication. Tracy just started with me, and the first thing she needs to do when I launch a listing, once Jill gives her the folder, is call the client and introduce yourself.
Yeah.
Something that simple. We're too easy to send them emails or a text message. I want them to hear her voice. I want them to connect with her because I am now passing them off to her. So I don't need to speak to them that often. So she's getting the feedback. She's calling them once a week. And every once in a while, I'm calling as well, and they're hearing from me, but I don't have to feel guilty that they're not hearing from the team, because what do we hear most often when we take an expired listing?
Yeah.
They listed me and left me. I never heard from my agent.
Yep.
And when you're doing the kind of volume that I'm doing, I don't have time to speak to every one of my sellers every single week. I always tell them it's like having 10 children. This week I need to focus on 3 that are problem children, and the other 7, oh well, there's nothing happening with you right now, and when it's your turn, I'll be there.
Yeah.
But in the meantime, somebody needs to connect with them. So that's Tracy. So it's communication in emails, letters, follow-up letters, letting them know what we've done for them lately, and once they go into contract, letting them know what the next steps are.
This
so they're
is
not
huge.
saying, what do I do now? And when I list the house, I always tell them we're going to come to that point where it's hurry up and wait for the closing. So when they call and there's nothing going on, that lull, I tell them, remember that hurry up and wait? You're there now.
Yeah.
So start packing, get the boxes, get your CO smoke detector, and I'll let you know when to worry about the next
Well,
step.
and I love that because you're setting the expectations, and we talk about this in some of the training that we do for our members. Is that setting, managing, and resetting of expectations? Most people never set the expectations to begin with. Then they spend all their time trying to manage the unmet expectations that everybody had, and they never actually formally sit down and go, we need to reset here. So if you set them up front, you can manage them periodically and say, remember what we talked about. Remember what we discussed. Remember this. Here's where we are. This is that phase we're heading into. You can manage it throughout. And then as needed, you can reset and go, hey, we need to take a break. We need to reset here because it's gotten a little out of hand. And now we need to reset and put this all back in place. But it's because you handle it up front. And that's where that communication is so critical for you and your team. And you stress it up front. You don't let it go without them knowing, here's what's happening next, here's what's coming. You're always 3 steps ahead.
And for those people who say, I hired you, or I'm the team leader, I need to do all this. You do not, number one. Number two, in my listing presentation and in my pre-list packet is a bio with a picture of every team member and what their job description is.
Yeah.
So when I literally tell them my team does what they do better than I do, you don't want me putting up your sign. You don't want me doing the pictures or writing your verbiage.
Yeah.
They do a lot better than I do. You've already handed them off and the client gets it.
Yeah.
They get how you work. I said, when you need me, I'm like the surgeon. When you need me to do open heart surgery, I will be there.
Yeah.
And we'll get it done well. But in the meantime, you don't need me. You need my nurses.
Yep.
So, and the other thing is expectations when you're taking a listing of that first. I used to tell people, I will know how your listing is doing the first 30 days. In this market with the internet, I will know the first 2 weeks.
Yeah.
So we don't get an offer in the first 30 days. It's you.
Yeah.
Because, right, you're listing other homes, they're getting offers, and somebody isn't.
Yeah.
So that's communication. And then we communicate with them all the way to the end. Then we've got service. So we're servicing them by, I have drop boxes and lists of every single contractor possible. So whatever they need, and I get this all the time, and you know, those those mom Facebook pages where people are looking for recommendations, send them those lists. We even have a postcard that we do every once in a while. Instead of Angie's list, we said, whatever you need in town, you give us a call, and we do scrub those lists, and we let them know that. So you're the go-to person for everything. Yeah. And then our follow-up program and our VIP program is phenomenal. And what we do with the service to the community. So we just sent out our honor roll letter to the junior high school, which we've been doing for probably 10 years now.
I love this.
So you don't want to go for high school because they're too big and they're too cool. So in junior high school, they're now the big kids and they're starting to get graded and on the honor roll list, which is a big
deal at that age.
Isn't it nice to hear from the local realtor who's a celebrity that everybody knows? Instead of getting a pat on the back from mom or grandma, you're getting it for somebody that's watching you. And so we send them a congratulatory letter from me, and we put a coupon for either a slice of pizza, which I get the local pizzeria to donate, or if they don't donate it, they collect the coupons, and then at the end of the month, I pay them for whatever was redeemed. You would be surprised how many kids don't redeem their coupons because they leave them on the refrigerator as a badge of honor. So you could also go to the local Subway or Blimpie for a free cookie, or Dunkin' Donuts for a free donut. So we kind of change it up.
That's awesome.
I just got 2 emails, one from a grandmother and one from a mother on Facebook message thanking me for acknowledging their kids. You cannot get to a client's heart more than acknowledging their children or their pets.
Yep.
So that's an awesome one and very easy to do. So you call the local principal, you get the admin to send you the list every month, and then you have to get the address book. That's the tricky part. So you have to know somebody in town that gives you the address book.
Yeah.
The other thing we do is as soon as they go into contract, we send them a list of labels, return address labels, about 3 sheets full from Staples, with a picture of the house they just bought. So now you're cementing them psychologically and emotionally to the house. So when things are going wrong, even in the beginning, but we already have our address labels.
And it's got a picture of a house. Yeah, and it's got the picture of the house on there. And
Exactly.
yep.
In fact, my husband, because we just closed on a house 6 weeks ago, says, "Don't I get address labels?" I'm like, "Really?" So I had Kathy make them up for him too. Uh, we also do a shredding event once a year
Yeah.
where I send out a postcard. It started with our VIP clients. And then I said, for the same cost, open it out to the entire town.
Yeah.
So we send out a postcard to the entire town 3 weeks before because you want to give them time to scrub their
Yeah.
shreddables. And then I do it in the park and ride. And last year, because it was Ringwood's 100th anniversary, I actually bought a clown. We had popcorn, ice cream, and I think I'm going to repeat that, and a bouncy house. So you have the shredding truck. I have over 400 people that show up for this shredding event and look forward to it
Yeah.
every single year, including the town who doesn't do their own shredding. So
I
you've
love it.
got
I love that the
accountants,
town member or
the
the
town, yeah,
government is coming out to do their shredding with your event.
they love it. And people call me throughout the year and they go, "When is that shredding event?" And I said, "You know what? If you don't have a lot, like if you have you know, one garbage pail full, bring it in and I'll shred it for you in house."
That's
So
awesome.
you're just putting yourself out there and welcoming people
Yeah.
for all of these things.
Yeah.
We've got a pie giveaway that we do in Thanksgiving. So
Yeah.
the Tuesday before Thanksgiving, we invite all of our VIP clients. That's over 700 clients to come in and pick up their pie the Tuesday before Thanksgiving.
Yeah. So let me ask you, Orly, because and I want to kind of hit one more angle, and then we're bumping up on time, and I want to be respectful of your time here. So,
Sure.
and because you're doing for those of you that are on, like Sandy, I see your question. Orly's going to be back with our coaching members tomorrow. So we're going to be doing a deeper dive on some of the stuff with our. So if you're one of our coaching members and you're asking questions, promise you we're going to go deeper on some of these things tomorrow. Today we just don't have that much time. Orly agreed to do a separate one for our Facebook group, and so that's what this is here. Is to bring some extra value because she's extremely generous with her time. So let me ask you, because one of the other things that has kind of come up in the questions, and I think it's important here, and it's shifting gears a little bit, which is your team is the agents are very productive on your team. You expect them to do between 25 and 35 sides a year. You know,
Totally.
these aren't people who are hanging out in the office and cobbling together 6 deals. These are people who are really producing. So how are you able to get them there? What are the things that you've found that are working to get them there? And that you and your coach have been working on to get them productive, to get them up and rolling, and really make that accountability stick.
Okay, so first it starts with hiring somebody who's hungry
Yeah.
and has an I have to.
Yeah.
If they don't have the I have to, I can't motivate you. You have to want it for yourself, number one. So right now we're going over goals every single month of where they are. Then we actually had a meeting with our Zillow rep yesterday, and he said that your team is converting 84% of the calls that are coming into us, which means that the minute their phones ring, because they're on broadcast, so that means all three of their phones ring at the same time, or I have them on a round robin. So you don't pick up that phone call, somebody else is going to. So that's a little bit of competition, which
Yep.
is a healthy competition. So they have to be hungry, they have to be alert, they must do at least 2 open houses a month. So, and they have to prospect. So today I actually was listening to John Maxwell's word, which I always email to them as well. And today's word was mindset. So I emailed him. I said, "What's your mindset today? And what's your number one goal today?" And Colleen came back and she said, "Following up on the Zillow calls." So it's constantly nudging them and saying, "What are you doing today to prospect, to stay in touch with your clients, to keep those deals together?" So
Yeah.
it's communication. Again, it
Yeah.
comes back to communication and being hungry.
Yeah. And so Orly, I want to shift gears here for just a second and talk about you've been a member of our coaching program now for a little over a year and change, right?
Correct.
About a year and a half, I think.
Yeah.
And so in that time, because you came to us from another program, you were with another program prior, and
Correct.
and it was a very different experience, and it was I think you said it. It was just all they were doing was coaching from a book or something. Like there was a workbook that they effectively coached you through. So,
Right.
what has been your experience in our program, and how has that supported you as you've been working yourself out of the role that you're in, and really creating a business on autopilot? How's that process been for you?
Well, interestingly enough, I've been with a few coaching programs, and the last one is very big, and the leader is very motivating, inspirational, great trainer.
Mm-hmm.
But in building a big business, you start to become like a factory.
Yeah.
And it's all about the numbers and it's all about cloning yourselves. And I think that the quality gets diluted. So I had heard Travis at Gen Blue in Vegas about 2 years ago and was very impressed with his style. Everything he was saying resonated with me. And of course, if you signed up for the notes, you got the free coaching class. So I had somebody call me and I said, listen, I've been doing this for 32 years, happy with my production, always happy to do more. Don't tell me to make 50 phone calls a day. Don't give me that kind of coach. Not interested. Go, well, what are you looking for? I said, to me, it's about core values. It's about growing myself as a human being, growing my team, and more balance in my life, not giving up doing yoga 3 times a week,
Yeah.
not giving up my travel. So the guy said, you know what? I think I have somebody for you. Would you mind having a coaching call this afternoon with Kim Johnson? I said, sure. What do I have to lose? So I got on the call with Kim and I said, look, she goes, she got me the first 3 minutes that we started to talk. It was like meeting your soulmate.
Mm.
And who really gets you from the heart and knows where you want to go. And for predominantly, we've been working on a workbook that I'm writing called The Balance Myth of how I did evolve to be a success and have a really good relationship with my husband, raising 3 amazing daughters, and quality of life,
Yeah.
and tweaking the team as well. So it's finding a person who really gets what you want out of life,
Yeah.
not what the mold is.
Because you get to the level that you're at, Orly, you don't need somebody who's going to go, Orly, how many calls did you make? How many postcards did you send? It's like this is where you're playing at a different level
Totally.
at that level.
I mean, I'm
You're not a
taking
brand
calls
new agent.
throughout the day and following up without doing my hour of power like I used to
Yeah.
because it's natural to me at this point.
Yeah. Yeah. So you're playing at a different level, and Kim's amazing. I mean, she's an absolutely phenomenal coach. I just love her to
Amazing
death.
human being.
Yes. Yes, she is. Yes, she is. So guys, here's the thing. And Orly's been extremely generous with her time today. And for our coaching members, we've got a whole longer session tomorrow. We're going to be deep diving on some of these things. But guys, if you're wanting to find out how we can support you in your business, I promise you this. This is something unlike anything else you've ever participated in. We do things very differently here. We are not like other companies. We are here to help you build something truly spectacular like Orly has done. And if that's what you're interested in finding out about, get on the phone with my team. We've set aside some time for you guys. Go to travisrobertson.com/call. It's 60 minutes of working on your business, getting clarity around where you're at, clarity around where you're headed, and helping you put together that game plan to close that gap between where your business is and that miraculous, spectacular business you're looking to build. And I promise you this, guys, whatever your challenges, whatever your biggest issues are, we've seen it, we've heard it, we know how to overcome it. And so this is a call that is truly going to be maybe the best 60 minutes you'll invest in your business this year. And so book a call, travisrobertson.com/call. You owe it to yourself. You owe it to your business. And Orly, you are just, this has flown by for me. This has flown by. Guys, if you found this valuable, do me a favor, do Orly a favor, comment, thank her for this, give a thumbs up, a like for her, a little heart, whatever I like the heart emoji because you deserve the heart emoji. But
Thank you.
Orly, you've been absolutely fantastic. And so for people that want to get a hold of you, that want to refer people out your direction, where do they go?
Orly at onlyorly.com is the easiest email you'll ever have.
ORLY at onlyorly.com. So
Correct.
Orly, you've been absolutely fantastic. Thank you for everything.
My pleasure.
And it's an honor to get to work with you and serve you and see the success. 2019 is going to be amazing. I cannot wait to see what you do in 2019. So thank you very much for being here.
Thank you. My pleasure.